Hey everyone, today we're going to set up a Shopify store. This tutorial is for beginners. I'm going to show you absolutely everything that you need to know to get your e-commerce store off the ground. Let's get into it. So the first thing to get your Shopify store off the ground is you do need a product. For those who have been following along our Lemon Scrub series, I've already sourced the brand and sourced the supplier and everything. If you haven't, that's okay. You just need to come to either Alibaba or AliExpress. I'll give you a quick overview of why these websites are the best to find products. So AliExpress, in short, is mainly a dropshipping store. So basically what dropshipping is where the Chinese manufacturer will ship directly from China. It's more designed so that you can actually create some branding and do relatively larger orders than AliExpress. So AliExpress, you can get 1 or 2 units. It's very cheap to start dropshipping, whereas Alibaba, a lot of these suppliers are going to be expecting, an MOQ, which you can kind of see here, 100 pieces. So we can go into this kind of stuff. Some of these products on Alibaba will be on AliExpress, but the ones that aren't are generally the ones that we like to say aren't saturated. So there's not a million kids trying to drop ship them. They're great opportunities, those products. Alternatively, they're not really in demand through Facebook ads. So if you haven't done that research process, that's okay. Today, let's just jump into and learn how to do Shopify. We'll set up all the store. You can use some stock images as a placeholder. You can practice writing some copy. We're gonna go through all the settings and all the apps that you need to actually make a really high converting store. If you have launched a Shopify store before, this is probably still gonna be pretty useful for you because we're gonna go through some of the common mistakes that people actually make when setting it up, which actually stop those sales coming in. So follow along. All right, so now is the time that we can come to Shopify. So a simple Google will get you to Shopify. The awesome part is, yes, they have a free trial, so we can play around until we are ready to launch our store. You're just gonna enter your email address here. If you don't have a Gmail already, you can just set that up, and also your password. So I'm just gonna do that. When you are entering your store name, this isn't that important. This is actually for kind of like the back end of Shopify. You can always change this later with your domain, but it is kind of important if you do have a huge success and you wanna expand to lots of regions. I do suggest doing it probably the region that you plan to target the most. So I'm gonna do Lemon Scrub AU because I'm going to be selling this in Australia. So Lemon Scrub is a cleaning product. We think it's going to go really well on organic socials. There's a couple of viral products going around at the moment. We've done our photography, we've done our videography for it. We've done a bunch of copy as well. So it's pretty exciting. So you can just go through all these settings and set them up. It doesn't matter too much. They're just trying to get some information. This is pretty important. Make sure you put your proper address in here because they are gonna make you probably verify it later with Shopify payments. So make sure this is all accurate. Don't come visit me at my home address. So you've got this checkbox down here. This store is registered as a business. If you don't have that, it's okay at this stage, but you might want to consider if you are, doing a proper business, registering it in your local country, and also insuring that business. All right, we're in the Shopify dashboard right now. So you can go down this feed in the front to get a lot of information, but what we're really looking for is on the left here. So the first thing we want to do today is come into the online store and pick our theme. So Shopify actually has some really good basic themes. There are some themes out there that you can go and buy, and those themes have a lot of conversion rate factors built in. So what does that mean? It's like certain urgency responses like timers and things like that are proven to make your customers purchase more. I don't think this is necessary, especially if you're just getting started. We're just going to use a basic free theme. I really like the debut theme. The Oodie is built on that. Calming Blankets is built on that. So you can definitely get very, very far using that theme. To do this, we're just gonna come down here and click Explore Free Themes. And you can see that Debut is this one on the list here. You can click Add Theme to Library. Now we're gonna click Actions and click Publish to publish the theme. You can also click Customize if you wanna actually just see what the theme looks like with yours. If there's already existing stuff on your theme, that's probably not a bad idea. So we can come in and click Customize now. It's activated and we've got our new theme. So this is basically what we're going to populate today, as well as change the settings. If it is your first time, just jumping into the theme editor and writing copy is not a bad idea. As you become more experienced, you'll probably prepare like a little bit of a document that, that you're going to copy and paste onto the theme because you know all of the sections that you need to create. We've actually done this already today. We've got our copy document here. It's comparing to our website pubnaps. We've got our headlines and everything. This is what we're going to copy across. If you want to learn how to use copy after this episode, head back to my copywriting episode. I'd show you exactly how we wrote that document. One of the best tips I could probably give you at this point is to actually find a competitor's site that you really like. Make sure it's really easy to use, not just beautifully designed. Make sure it's simple as well. And then just head to their website and kind of just copy the structure, and also look at the text elements that they've used in their website to convey their product. It's just gonna speed up the process for you. Disclaimer, make sure that you're not copying it directly. You're just gonna get the Shopify store banned. So to use the theme editor that we've got here, you've got this left panel. You can add sections. They have a lot of pre-built sections. These sections are probably the most important parts of your website, and they're very, very easy to use. With the debut theme, they populate a lot of these sections already, as you can see. The left section, as you can see, is structured based on this page. So this header section here is this header, and then we've got the image with text overlay. This is the image with text overlay. So we can change our logo here. This is just the basic text. We're gonna select image, and we're going to upload our logo. One thing that you do need to know when you are uploading a lot of these files, try to not make the images really big, because all of those large images are going to make the site slower. Speed is a really important fact in conversion rate optimization. Again, conversion rate is when a customer goes onto your store and makes sure that they purchase. So you can see that our logo has come up here. We can increase the width to make it a bit bigger, and that looks pretty good. One of the coolest things about Shopify, and probably one of the most important things about the theme builder, is coming into up here and clicking mobile, so we can check our theme on mobile. Most traffic will be mobile onto your store, so don't neglect it. One tip that I do have is you can actually build your whole store in mobile version first and then head to the desktop. Shopify is very responsive, so it should look pretty good in both, but prioritizing mobile is a good idea. We've also got this really cool section here, which is Show Announcement tab. This is very, very common with Shopify stores or most e-commerce stores. It's where you really put your offer. Because it's the highest in the page, it's going to be the section where you really put your sales messaging. Maybe it's free shipping over a certain sales threshold, or maybe it's like a discount code or something like that. I'm just gonna leave that there for now. You might see this theme settings down here. This is where you add all your social media channels, and then that's automatically gonna populate things down in your footer. So if I just did lemon scrub, I don't think that's activated yet, but it should bring up the Facebook icon down the bottom. I can do that for Instagram, and Instagram will pop up there. That's really important because this kind of footer structure is becoming quite well known. If you go to any really big website, big multinational, they'll have a really nicely structured footer. However, when you go to like a really scammy store that you don't trust, they might just have a really basic footer kind of like this. So it's really important that you populate it and take the time to set up this footer. So I can come to this image with text overlay that I was talking about before. Because this text section is really important, we probably want to avoid using image with text on it in the background, because that's just going to look terrible. We've done a bunch of product imagery for this product. If you haven't, go to Google and just Google in, either your competitor just as a placeholder at the moment. Make sure you replace it when you launch the store. Or you can go to a website like Unsplash, which is free royalty-free images, and start populating your store just so you can get a feel for it. So we actually have a bunch of lifestyle images here. Because when you come to desktop here, it is actually a landscape photo. It's really important that you select a landscape photo for this top section, and then it will reformat for this mobile section. So I'm gonna come upload, and we've got a bunch of images here. I might just select this one for now, just to show you what happens when there is a bit of a text underlay over the text. And see how there's text underneath text? That just looks terrible. The problem with this image is probably that it's not really highlighting the product at all, and we really want people to understand exactly in the first 1 second clicking on the store what we're selling. So we found a pretty good image here. It's not overpowering. It has the product in it. The text still works. We can have a look at mobile, make sure it still looks good. and it's not too bad. I'm gonna keep going for the sake of the tutorial. Right here, we've just got our text editors, so we can change the text size, but we're actually just gonna change this heading, and then we're also changing the text. So we've got our text here, and we're gonna dump it in. We can try out a couple of these headlines. So the problem with this is probably there's like maybe a little bit too much text, and we can maybe just shorten this a little bit. It is also really important that you have a button or a call to action in the very top section. We call this a top section above the fold. So and that's an old expression from newspaper. So it's basically when the newspaper is folded, you don't have to unfold it to see above the fold. So when you go on your mobile and you go onto the website, you don't have to scroll to see anything. So all you need to do is come here and click products and send it to something, and it should come up. We can say shop now, and it's just appeared. So to remove a section out of this editor, we can just click here and click remove section. I didn't need that section because I had lots of images on it, and we've only got a one product store. So you need to understand what you're selling to really make sure that your site's designed well. This section here with these 3 product images, if we go to the mobile version to look at it, it's basically it's a good place to highlight lots of different functions of your product as a whole. So, we've got some copy for that, like step 1, step 2, step 3. So it's a great place that we can put that. So now we've populated a little bit of a how to use, which is taking the user on the journey. Now we can obviously keep going through and populating this homepage, but I think that you understand how to use that homepage. For some design tips, again, just look at your competitor. One thing I am going to do is actually remove the testimonial section because we're going to download some apps in a second. Those apps, we can download review apps, which are probably better to use than the standard Shopify section. It's going to, again, increase your conversion rate. Before we jump out of the theme editor, I'm going to show you how to change the colors. So we can come into theme settings, and we've got all of these cool options over here. The default Shopify colors are definitely not on brand for us. We're looking to be a little bit more punchy and vibrant. So we can come in here and go primary buttons, and you should have your brand colors. And just for the sake of quickness, I'm just gonna pick a yellow. We want our buttons to stand out and be contrasting because then they'll get more clicks. So you can change all of those colors to match your brand. You can also come into typography and change the fonts here. If you do want to get a different font that is not an option here, such as your brand font that a creative director or a designer has given you, there are some tutorials online. You will have to go into and edit the code. Alternatively, you can use a cheap app, like I think it's called Fontify, where they just charge you $5 and then you can upload the font that way. It's very easy to preview the fonts. You can come in and click here, and this will change the headings. The headings are these big bold ones. And then the body text is this one here. Again, we've got our social media settings here, which I showed you before. This one's really, really important. This is called the favicon. You'll see the favicons at the top left of in Google Chrome, just here. If you don't have this, it's gonna look like a scam. So it's really important that you do set up a little favicon, which is 32 by 32. A little trick is you can basically just screenshot your logo. Again, it's gonna have to be square, and you can use that. But alternatively, if you wanna do it properly, you can use something like Canva or Photoshop to design a proper favicon in those dimensions. So we're gonna make sure that we click save up here. Now it's time to set up our product. This product will be on a separate page to a home page. So that homepage is going to warm up our customers. Then they're going to click on the link, the shop now link that we set up before, and we're going to push them directly to this product. So click add products here. And there are some tricky things, so make sure that you set it up exactly like I have. The title is the lemon scrub, and we can maybe be specific. We can call it a lemon scrub cleaner. Now this is where we put all the copy for our product. I like to use dot points here to make it really digestible. So do a lot of other bigger brands. You just want really short, snippy, descriptive terms about your product to educate people. If you write big paragraphs of text here, it's gonna look unprofessional and people aren't even gonna read it. We've got a bunch of editing functions here. These kind of heading text and paragraph text is really important from an SEO perspective. We really wanna come into this section and use these formatted dot points to make it really digestible. We can click save, And once that happens, it's actually gonna publish our first product, which is awesome, congratulations. So we can click preview and it should be here. Now this is looking pretty terrible. Nobody's gonna buy this. So we need to come in here, we need to add product imagery. Product imagery is so important to getting the conversion. People need to see that product image and say, okay, I know exactly what I'm buying. It is clear. So we've got some standard white background product imagery here, which we're going to upload. I like to use square imagery for my product images just because it makes it really easy to keep it consistent. I know a couple of other brands are using more portrait style imagery to really capture a lot of that mobile screen, but square should be fine for today. We probably don't need all of these images, so that will automatically publish now. Now we've clicked save. So we can come in here and we can click refresh and it's starting to take shape. And we can add some more lifestyle imagery as well so that people understand the product. One neat function that you do have in this Shopify product page that you don't actually have in the theme editor is this ability to actually crop images when you're in here. So rather than using, say, Canva to crop it, you can just click save. It is worth noting, there'll be a couple of experienced people out there, that this image is ginormous. It's 3,000 pixels, so that is gonna slow our website down. This is what you need to look at. We need to shrink that down to, around 1,000 pixels on each side to make sure that it doesn't slow it down. But for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna keep powering through. So now we've got this product imagery, we can again come into our product page and just refresh, and it's starting to take shape. Just looking at this now, we usually have an add to cart button here, but because they're the theme colors that we've chosen before, we need to go back and make sure that that's visible. So we'll need to come in here and click product status and make it active. There's no traffic going to the website, so there's no real risk in doing that. So I just wanna add a bit of inventory to the product. We can do this down here where there's quantity. So obviously if you had 20 units ready to sell, you would put 20 here. You can also view the inventory history, and when you start selling, that can be really handy. That actually may change our product page because it's going to allow the user to actually add the product to cart. So one thing that's really important to do when you're first starting is to kind of just make sure that all the settings in the product is right. So the first one is we do want to make a tag. We can make a couple of tags. We can do cleaning paste. We can also do things like oven, or just the type of cleaning paste it is. You can add a bunch of tags in here. It doesn't really matter for the customer, but what it's going to allow you to do is when you've got $1 million store and you've got 50 products, you can start setting up some filtering later on with your reporting, which is really cool. We can also come in here and select a collection. Basically what a collection is, a series of products in a website. So rather than pushing people straight to the product page, we've got this what's called a catalog or a collection up here, and you can have a series of things. So if you're doing a clothing store, this could be leggings versus singlets. Because we only have a one product store, this isn't really needed. I will show you just really quickly how to set up a collection page for those people that are doing a clothing store. Come into collections, create collections, and let's do oven cleaning products. We can go, we've got products must match all conditions, the product tag. We can change these things here to like title, but we set up a product tag before. This is the power of Shopify. We can just click oven here. And now when I click save, this is gonna create a collection and pull all of the products with that tag. We can then make sure that this catalog is the oven catalog, which I'll show you how to do in just a second. Through the navigation settings. I'm gonna head back to my product, and the next step that we need to make sure that we do is setting our pricing. So if you don't know your pricing already, you can just add something here for now. You're gonna wanna make sure that you've done all of your calculations, including your product cost, your courier cost, your freight costs to actually get it into the country. You need to understand the taxes that you're gonna have to pay with a product. And finally, how much does it cost to acquire a customer, which is your advertising costs. Today, I'm gonna show you how to set that up within Shopify because it's really important that we set it up properly. But then I'm gonna show you how to actually acquire customers using those platforms in another episode. So let's say our cost is $29. I actually don't have the price of this product yet. And then this compare at price is what we call the strike through price. So this is the price that, its sale is down from X or Y. I'm gonna add this in just for example, just so I can come in and show you how Shopify will automatically edit that for you. So now you can see it's $39 down to $29 with a strike through, and Shopify has added a nice little conversion element for you by saying it is on sale. That will increase people's likeliness to click add to cart. You can also add your cost per item. Now you're probably wondering what this means. Customers won't see it, but it will allow you to calculate the margin in the Shopify reports that they prepare for you. So it is really important that you set this up to the best of your ability when you know your COGS. So let's just say it's $5 and it is nice enough for you to calculate your margin and your profit. I like to make this cost per item inclusive of my average courier costs, because later on when we set up our reporting, we're gonna get a more accurate result of net profit margin. If that feels overwhelming, don't stress. I'm gonna walk you through it another time. Now we've got inventory, the SKU. Yes, this is important for you to set up properly, especially if you are going to use a 3PL. The SKU is also going to be most likely on your barcode. An SKU is basically an internal inventory management system. If you want to find more information about SKUs, you can just Google SKU generator. It's generally based on things like the product title, the product type, the product dimensions or size or color. So it's kind of like just basically a code that you can use internally and with your 3PLs. I can click save there. You can add the barcode section in. I don't really need that. The barcodes are generally registered either at the 3PL level or with your supplier as well. So we can come into weight. Now, weight is really important if you are going to use some of the basic internal Shopify courier tools. But we're not going to use that today. I like to set it up just in case, so it's 0.25 kilograms. Now this country/region of origin is important if you are shipping outside of your country. You're doing international shipping. If you are kind of just setting up an Australian e-commerce store, you're shipping within Australia, this kind of stuff isn't really that important at this stage. The options section is something that you'll be using if you have multiple SKUs in one product. So my leggings example before, you might have small, medium, and large. You'd be clicking that, and then you can add different images there and also different SKUs. So it basically is just like multiple products in one product. That's all good for me at the moment. I can click refresh here. We now have a product that we can add to cart and check out with, like so. This checkout isn't available at the moment. We can get that set up shortly when we set up our domain. Another section that you do have down here is edit website SEO. If you are an expert at SEO or looking to do SEO marketing, this is really important. For the beginner, it's probably not so important. So now what we want to do is we want to come in and change our domain. So what is the domain? It's up here. This is the domain. Right now, this is our domain, but we want it to just be like lemonscrub.com or trylemonscrub.com so that customers don't think we're a scam. So to do this, come into settings and we come down to domains. Now you have a few options here. If you've just started, you can buy a new domain through the Shopify platform, which is really, really easy and kind of one click. I like to set up my domains all with one provider. So you've got either GoDaddy or Namecheap are both acceptable, and you can click connect existing domain. I've already bought my domain in GoDaddy before, so I can then just go try lemonscrub.com, and it has already picked up that my domain is purchased with GoDaddy, so I can just click connect automatically, and because I'm already logged in with GoDaddy, it should be pretty quick like that, and I can click connect. Success, that's what we want to see. Come up here and click change primary domain. Providing it is connected, we can use one of these. I'm going to use the www. Now, if I go to this, sometimes it can take just a few seconds, but I should be able to go to my website, and this is the site To remove this password so that we can actually see our website in action, we come to the settings, we can come to online store, click preferences. Down here, we can remove password. So to do this, so to start driving traffic to the store, we do need to pick a plan. So this does not mean that your free trial is going to end. They're only going to start billing you after that free trial. If you're wondering what plan is probably right for you, it's probably the basic plan. If you are going to do a certain amount of sales, it's going to become cheaper to do the Shopify plan or the advanced Shopify plan because the payment rates are cheaper. To figure this out is Shopify plan calculator, which is really cool. So we can come into this Shopify pricing calculator and enter how many sales we're actually going to do. And it'll tell you the ideal plan that you want to do. So even if you're doing 150,000, you actually should be on the advanced Shopify plan. But obviously when you're first starting out, the basic one is fine. So to start that plan, click choose plan. And you've got all of this. Because we don't know it's gonna work, we wanna do monthly, okay? And we wanna use our credit card, not PayPal. Then we're gonna click add credit card and we're gonna enter all of our details here. Now we can come back to the online store, preferences, and this should allow us to remove the password, which is awesome. Come back up here. I'm gonna enter my domain again. And we've got our website here. So this is live on the internet. Woo! Now, while we're in preferences, I am going to show you a few things that you need to set up to make sure that your store doesn't look scammy. So the homepage title is important because it's actually going to be showing here. So we want to set this correctly. It's lemon scrub cleaner because things can get a little bit weird. This is also going to show like when you Google something, let's go Oodie, you know, this is going to be the text that we're looking at now. If you are going to do SEO marketing, this stuff is really important. And we're going to click save. Now there is also two really important sections here, which is Google Analytics and the Facebook pixel. We're going to set that up today because it can get really, really tricky. And I want to make sure that you have everything that you need to get started. So let's start with Google Analytics. We're just going to write in Google Analytics and come here. And we're going to click start measuring and set up our Lemon Scrub website. So this is the account. So Lemon Scrub as a general name should be fine. Click next. Property name is Lemon Scrub AU. This reporting time zone is just for your reference later on because you're going to see real-time data, which is really important. And we're going to have to accept the terms of service. And this is going to create our Google Analytics account. Untick and save. So we're going to create a data stream and we've got this Google tag here. So if we tried to paste this Google tag into Shopify at the moment, it would not work. Now, this is because Shopify hasn't actually updated their new Google Analytics section to match the way that Google Analytics is now working. So to fix this, what we actually need to go is into our theme section. And we're going to click edit code. And we're going to our theme liquid. Now, if this looks complicated, don't stress. I'm going to walk you through it. Just copy me exactly. We're actually going to grab that code that we pasted before here and we're going to click paste. Now, this is what we call in between the head. A lot of the times when you are copy and pasting code into the theme liquid, it isn't going to be under this head code here. So we're going to click save. So once we've done that, we can actually come into analytics and refresh and we can see if our store has worked. First of all, let's make sure that we go to the website and we can come in here and this should get a user because we are on the site and we can see that there's one user. So that's successfully set up. Hometown Adelaide. Pretty simple. Honestly, I think it will change really, really soon. Shopify will introduce a settings where it's one click and it should create your Google Analytics. But for the time being, just paste that code in your theme liquid. So I'm going to start setting up Facebook. So you can click this set up Facebook button. You need to make sure that you are logged in. You can add it as a sales channel. Once you have this as a sales channel, one thing that I do actually recommend that you do is head to business.facebook and make sure that you've set up a business Facebook before you kind of link all your Shopify settings. So I obviously have one. You can create an account. You're going to want to make sure that you use all the same details as your existing Facebook. because there's a lot of trust behind that. Use the same email. And this is what the business Facebook looks like. What this is then going to allow you to do is connect your account, and your business manager should show here. So obviously I've got a lot of business managers. So I'm going to select my business manager that I created. Yours will just be here. We're going to select our domain. So you won't have all of these ad accounts here. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to create the ad account first and then just link it to it. So I'm going to do this as Lemon Scrub AU in AUD, click next. I'm going to create it in my business and click create. That should create it quite quickly. We're going to assign people. So I can add the payment info later, but now when I come here and I refresh, this should be an option for me to select the correct ad account. So you can see the Lemon Scrub AU, we click connect, need to accept all the terms and conditions, which is up here. Click done. We need to update the payment details before we run ads, which is fine. Now the other thing that we also need to do is create a new page. Very similar situation as before. I don't really want to trust Shopify's integration with Facebook to figure all of that out. I just want to come in here and click pages, create a new page. We want to create a brand or product, Lemon Scrub AU, household supplies, create page. And now I should be able to come back to Shopify, refresh the page again, and we should have the Lemon Scrub AU page, which is awesome. I'll connect that one. Now, here's the data sharing bit. This is really important. So we've got the level of tracking here, which is important. And we've also got this Shopify pixel. We need to make sure that this pixel is actually linked to our ad account. To make sure that it's connected to the correct ad account, you can click connected assets and you can see that is my ad account there. And now I want to come into my targeted country, click Australia, and we are a couple of clicks away from being able to run Facebook ads. So click accept and we are good to go. So that is basically all set up besides from the payment method, which I can show you in the Facebook ads episode. I am just going to, for organization, change my pixel name to Lemon Scrub AU so things don't get too messy because I have 10 billion pixels. That brings us to our app section. There's a couple of apps that we need to install to not only make the store look more professional, but also to provide a better customer experience and also to increase conversion rate. The most important one that we are going to set up is Klaviyo. So we're going to head into the App Store. So we're going to write in Klaviyo. Now this is email marketing. Some other ones as, Drip. But honestly, most people in e-commerce right now are using Klaviyo because it is so powerful in its segmentation. We're going to do a whole episode on setting up the emails, but for today, I'm just going to click Add App and simply installing the app like so. It's going to automatically want to create an account with the email that you use to set up your Shopify store for ease. Sometimes this might not be the email that you actually want to set it up with. You might want to use a branded email, but for this video, I'm going to do it. So we're going to click continue with integration. And now you've got all your details here, which is really important to fill out. We're going to want to make sure that this is actually an email address from the brand email. If you've set that up with Shopify, it's not too hard to do. Alternatively, you can set up G Suite using your GoDaddy or Namecheap domain like we're talking about. You can integrate that. Or alternatively, you can use Microsoft Office and actually buy the emails in GoDaddy itself. So for now, I don't actually have the email. So I'm just gonna use my sender email address. Obviously, you don't wanna be sending with a Gmail when you're actually doing your campaigns. You can set up your logo here and all your brand colors. Keep clicking continue until you get your verification email. Go in, verify that email. Then you're gonna be able to start setting up your flows. I'm gonna do a whole episode on this and show you email best practices, set up our emails, and then measure the data and the success of it. But for now, if you do want to jump into it ahead, make sure you set up your welcome series and also your abandoned cart emails, which is pretty easy to do. After this episode, jump over to my previous Klaviyo episode if you want to see the exact setup for that. So if I come in here and click refresh, we've got our two apps. We've got Facebook for our Facebook marketing, Klaviyo for our email marketing and retention. The reason why email marketing is so important is because if you're buying traffic or doing lots of organic social media, trying to send a lot of hype to your website, you're going to want to make sure that people actually sign up to your email list, or even if they add to cart and then abandon the cart, and you want to keep in touch with those customers. It's going to drive the cost of your advertising down, and just make sure that you convert more people. That email list is a huge asset to your company and your brand. The next app that we are going to install is very similar concept. We're going to download an SMS marketing app. So SMS marketing is incredibly powerful. You've got two options at the moment. You've got SMS Bump and also Postscript. We use Postscript, which is here, and we're going to click Add App. Now, don't just jump into SMS marketing without doing your research and making sure that you are compliant. You can get huge fines and get in a lot of trouble for that. Postscript will actually work with you. Make sure that you're compliant, make sure that you've got all of the permissions from the user before you start doing that marketing, which is really important. Again, we're gonna show you exactly how to set up SMS marketing in future episodes and go into the depth of the marketing concepts behind it. Now, the next app that you wanna do, which is actually customer forward facing on the Shopify theme, is download a review app. We use Luke's on many of our websites, but another great app is Okendo. Okendo is very similar to Luke's in the fact that it's got photo reviews. It's really important to have photo reviews at the moment. People can tell that they're more authentic and real. But Okendo has a lot of other options, such as like you can talk about, is it true to fit? For a clothing company. Did it work in your, we could say like cleaning effectiveness in certain categories. So really, really cool app. I'm gonna add it and install. And we should be able to click auto install. A lot of these apps will, because we're using the default Shopify themes, they will work with the default Shopify themes with the auto installation. So alternatively, we can jump in, we can install Luke's. We can go into the beginner trial. Now, when I just installed that app, had the $9.99 trial, you don't need to enter your credit card every single time you install an app, which is kind of dangerous because you need to make sure that you're constantly keeping track of your Shopify subscription bill because that's where it's going to come out. So we can personalize the widget, add all of our brand colors. This email we can actually turn off if we'd like to use Klaviyo to do our email marketing. You can set a discount. I'm just gonna skip through all of this. If you are migrating from another website or have lots of other reviews, you can import the reviews. So we can change this email timing to never. Otherwise, we're going to start spamming customers. I want to do all of my email requests through Klaviyo itself. And now we should be able to come into the theme editor now, click customize, and there should be adding a section down here. See, now we can add the Luke's carousel. We can actually come into our product page and you can see Luke's is now already there. We can start writing a review, which is really cool. It's just going to give us a series of images. I can show you on the Oodie from real customers wearing and experiencing your product, which is here. So this is starting to take shape. So before we start driving traffic, we do need to set up the shipping side of things. So this is customer facing again. So customers are going to be affected by this and see it. We're going to want to click manage rates and we've got our product here. So this is editing the shipping rates for this exact product. So we're going to want to make sure that here, the shipping from section, which you'll probably see your own address in, is going to be where you're shipping the product from. That's really important. And we've got our shipping zones down here. So we're going to, just for example's sake, I think we might have to do a tiered shipping structure for this store. So if you buy X, you get free shipping, but if you only buy one unit, you don't get free shipping. To try to incentivize the increase in average order value, you need to think about this kind of stuff. But for now, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to delete rest of world. What this rest of world means, if a customer comes to you from anywhere in the world and goes onto your website, they're going to be able to purchase your product. Chances are, if your product is large enough, $20 isn't going to cover the shipping rates. It's really hard to set up shipping labels. It's really, really difficult to ship to some countries in the world. So you really want to make sure that you've done the math on all of the countries that you plan to ship to. So I just generally delete that for now. Now, if you do want to add secondary countries, aside from your home country, you can click edit zone and select the countries in here. So let's say, for example, I also wanted to ship to, say, New Zealand. I can go in here and add this to the zone. Perhaps you might want to start charging a little bit of money to New Zealand because it's larger shipping. You would have to create a new shipping zone and call it international and write in New Zealand and add the rate. So you've got standard international, and let's say you want to start charge $20 there. For Australia, you've got conditional shipping rates here. which is around the cost of the product, that's okay. You can also edit these to be more around other conditions, such as item weight, which we remember we set that item weight in the product settings before. You can also remove all conditions and basically just make it a standard free shipping. I can come in here, add rate, custom flat rate, rate name, and we're just gonna say free shipping. And I like to write how long it's gonna be. So 2 to 8 days is Australia Post's general shipping rate, and we can go done. And you can see that's an option. Now, customers, providing the conditions are met, are gonna see all of these options, which we don't really want. So I'm just gonna delete all of those. Now a customer is gonna come in no matter what, providing that they're on this product, which is important. You know, if you can't see the shipping rates that you've set up, chances are the product isn't selected correctly. And then if they're in Australia, they're gonna only see this free shipping option rate, no matter what condition. And then if they are from New Zealand, they can select New Zealand, but it's gonna say $20 here. So that's basically how the shipping sections work. Click save. Now, if you are getting a lot of traffic to your website, you need to check Google Analytics or even your Shopify Analytics to check that you've got shipping rates set up for those regions, because chances are people are trying to buy from that region and you don't have any shipping rates for it. If you are Australian, it actually was quite tricky when I first started to find information around how to set up a courier for your product. Shopify has progressed very well in this area, but I will show you in another episode exactly how you can print shipping labels from Shopify. So now we have our shipping settings done. We want to also come into our payment settings and make sure that this is all set up. So payment settings, you're going to want to provide as many payment providers as possible. In Australia, they've become very accustomed to having Shopify payments, which is just or Stripe. Then also PayPal is really important. And then finally, Afterpay is really important now. If you don't have all three of these payment providers, chances are you're losing a lot of conversions. So one thing that Shopify does is automatically creates like a PayPal link to the email that you first set up with the Shopify. So if that's not the PayPal, if you already had a business PayPal set up, you're going to have to deactivate that PayPal Express checkout and relink your account. So I'm actually going to deactivate that because we're going to set up a PayPal and link that later. You also want to complete the account setup on the Shopify payments. Now, it's really important that you do all of this by the book, because what's going to happen is Shopify is going to ask you to verify these after you get your sales. So you need to enter all of your business details and your correct bank account. Make sure you enter your birthday because they're going to ask for your ID, and make sure you have that correct business address. That might be your home business address, whatever's registered. Finally, to add Afterpay, you use this choose alternative payment methods, and Afterpay will be there. One section I will quickly show you is users and permissions. So you can add staff in this section to your store so that they can help you with things. It might be customer service, maybe you want to give them access to orders, or it might be an actual designer or developer into your website. I'm a huge advocate of hiring a designer and a developer so that they can help customize your store to be more professional. Now, you might be thinking that my Shopify store is looking pretty basic at the moment. And you know, when you look at our copywriting, we have all of these awesome features that we've designed that we know is going to increase conversion rate. It is really hard to do these custom elements on Shopify at the moment without a developer. You're going to need to go to Upwork and get either a designer / developer to help you design these things. Alternatively, the process is you get a designer to design your Shopify store. You can write a really simple website brief, and that website brief generally pulls from a lot of other competitor websites and shows the clear features that you're looking for. They will then deliver that either using like something like Figma or just like a Photoshop file, and then you can then provide that to a developer via Upwork. The developer then comes onto your Shopify store and custom codes that design into your Shopify. This large process isn't 100% necessary. What I would suggest though is just getting certain elements designed for your store. So for example, this custom table here, I like to look at Cure Skincare. They are really, really great. You can come in here and you can see this custom comparison table on their website. You could just get a designer to design that with this copy and then ask a developer to put it onto your website. The other thing that you can do for your product page, which is really simple, I'm gonna do it after this video, is get an accordion like this website here. So this is the FAQ, this is on a product page. Honestly, you don't even need a designer for this section. You can just get a developer, give them the copy, and they should be able to develop this onto your product page. Another great feature to make your website more professional is a floating add to cart on mobile. So this will follow them as they scroll on mobile, and it's just about increasing that conversion rate. There's a bunch of other really fun conversion rate optimization tips. Because this is a really beginner's tutorial to actually the settings in Shopify and how to use the theme editor, I'm not going to go into detail right now. I'm just going to do another video for you where we really kind of analyze our website. I'm going to get a designer in. We're going to make it look really, really schmick. When you are adding users, make sure that you trust the user. Upwork is great because you are paying them through Upwork. They have a reputation. You can give them a negative review. It's very unlikely you're going to get scammed there. So, but you can limit their permission by, not letting them change the settings and stuff like that. You just want them to change the theme. So you can be quite conservative there. The only other section that I will show you today in the settings is these policies. It's really important, we're doing a lot of marketing to get the proper policies in place. Shopify is really great because you can create these from templates. If you are a proper business, you might want to use a legal service to build these policies out and make sure that they are accurate according to how you use people's data, as well as obviously the marketing exercises that you're doing. So spend some time, read through these policies, make sure that they're accurate. Oh, actually, the last thing that I will show you is this tax region. It is important that you set up taxes properly. If you don't set up this setting, you're still gonna have to pay taxes in the region. It's not a loophole, but by setting this up, what it's going to do is it's actually gonna display the proper pricing to customers. So if they're, say, buying a business expense, they're gonna know that you have charged GST on that product so that they can claim it back. So you can click collect GST. There is certain thresholds around this. I'll let you chat to your accountant about the best setup for this setting. It can get quite complicated with the international setup. So I do recommend spending some time on the internet looking up what the ideal settings are for you there. So coming back to our store now, checking it out, this section here is called the navigation bar. We do need to fix that. It isn't difficult, same with everything with Shopify. We can come in here and we can go online store, and we've got our pages here, but we've also got this section that says navigation underneath. So we've got both our footer menu, which is this navigation, and then we've got our main menu, which is this navigation up here. You can see these sections here. They are a series of pages or product pages or collection pages. So to create something, you can click pages here. They've already created a contact us page, which is great. We've got our name, email, phone number, message. I suggest customizing this so that you have your own support email here so people can just actually email in properly. So if we wanted to create our own contact us page, we could do contact us. And then we can just add a bunch of copy around our policies. It might be, when we'll respond, what email to send to. I'm gonna show you how to set up great customer service channels and the software that we use in our business to support high volume amount of tickets. But just for example's sake, I'll just put a bit of copy here, and we've created our first ever page here. So the other pages that we also wanna create is an about us, where we talk about our brand. So with this about us, it's going to be, the founder story, how we came up with the product and so forth. I'm just going to put some placeholder copy there. And now to put this in the navigation bar, we can click main menu here, click add menu item and write about us, pages. and it should pop up there. Click add. Some other page examples that you can have here is, details around returns, FAQs, anything that makes your customer feel very safe to be on your website. So great about us, I always love this site, is Bashans. And they have this awesome story here about our story. They've got things about their source. They've even got a blog. And you can go through here and read the story. This is, as a small business, you really need to make sure that you're telling your story. They've also got customer reviews up here. That's always a great one. You can basically put any of your review website as well. The other thing that you can do, considering we're a one product store, we're gonna remove this catalog and we're going to make sure that we're linking directly to our product. So we're going to do the lemon scrub cleaner and we're gonna do buy today and click save. I'm gonna put that up here just a little bit higher because it's prioritization. Then we're going to go to the footer menu and we're gonna add the same pages just to really start beefing out that footer. And we can come up here and refresh and you can see this has started to fill out. So if I can go buy today, it's looking a little bit better. Again, have your reviews, FAQ, all of those kind of things. You're probably looking at this store and thinking, this doesn't look like a lot of other stores on the website. It doesn't look professional enough. And you're comparing it to some really great brands with big design teams and big e-commerce development teams as well. The truth is your website does not need to look perfect to convert. Often the simplest websites are the highest converting, and Shopify has really built trust with their basic themes. What is really important though is that customers have faith in the process. So customers have faith in the brand. There is a professional logo, clear product imagery, clear communication around shipping times. But overall, my advice for you would be to not get too hung up on the website design as a whole. If your product is right and your product timing is right, it's going to convert using Facebook ads. So I hope today's episode gave you absolutely everything that you need to know to get started on Shopify. That is all the basic stuff that you need to know. I'm gonna jump away now. I'm gonna get a designer and a developer involved, and we're gonna make this look really schmick. I'm also actually going to design an advertorial. This advertorial is gonna be part of a more direct response sales page process that is going to increase our conversion. Often what brands will do is they'll only create their basic, nicely branded Shopify store, so they're leaving a ton of money on the table. I wanna show you how to do both so you have everything that you need to find e-commerce success. If you like today's episode, make sure you like and subscribe. Head over to our Facebook group as well if you have any other questions. And yeah, we'll put a link to the website once it's done. Let us know what you think.